Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Hey, guys.
Oh,
All right. Hey, welcome. I've been researching this for months. I went to England to research the history of this holiday. That's how much research I've done. I got way ahead of it. It was back in May, and I found out one thing. Side note, they don't speak English in England. A whole different language. Yeah, it's like they don't tell time the same, which if you need to be somewhere is super important. They don't say 5:30, they say 5:30, which it all through the UK. I was in Scotland and I went to park my car and I asked the guy, I was like, hey, does parking enforcement come around this late? And he goes, nah, after half sex, they don't come down here. I said, what? I said, after half sex, they don't come down here. I said, I'm sorry, who? And he said, what? I go, I don't understand. He goes, are you thick? I go, I could run more. Are we speaking English still? So totally different place. Don't go there unless you have to, but go there. Okay, so let's talk turkey. If you're ready, we're going to talk turkey. We're gonna start with the history of the werewolf. The werewolf is fascinating. We have 4 possibilities for our belief in werewolves. Okay, by my accounts, lycanthropy is the first one, a rare condition, thank God, where people think they are transforming into wolves or animals. And I think we focus on the wolves here because they're scary. But I think through history, that was not always the focus because it also is animals. And if you look at the calendar, there's clues. 3 weeks later, long enough to build a posse, there is a holiday where there's a wholesale slaughter of turkeys. So it's very possible that most people thought they were turning into turkeys. And so we created an actual holiday where all the people got together and killed all the turkey people. So that's a possibility. Number 2, rabies. Rabies could have been a cause for werewolves. Could you imagine you get bit by a squirrel in your yard and then your jaw locks up and instead of helping you, the villagers chase you with torches? I guess it was a different time. Number 3, hallucinations caused by hallucinogenic herbs. Now, I had always heard, because my mother was a fan, that the Grateful Dead had been touring since the 60s. I did not know it was BC. And if you think about that for clues, Jerry Garcia, hairy hippie, or original werewolf, maybe. Number 4, hypertrichosis, excessive hair growth. It's a genetic condition causing excessive hair growth, which I'm 50 and my nose and ears could have gotten me burned at the stake in the 1600s. Which, if you think about that, AJ, I'm sure you can corroborate. People didn't live past 40 typically. So probably that's what it was. Just us old guys walking around and people were like, look at that. They saw their hairy noses and ears. They're like, it's a monster, kill it. Which is kind of how we're treated now by our teenage kids. So number 5 possibility was food poisoning. Food poisoning. When they don't say what food, I think it would be handy to know which sandwich turns you into a wolf. And for obvious reasons, because anything can happen with food. Could you imagine at that time, like, just, hey, listen, honey, if your mom is cooking again tonight, I'm just gonna grab a burrito on the way home, because you remember what happened last time when she brought over those meat pies, and I ended up in the yard howling till 2 a.m. and then ate the neighbor's cat. So those are the possibilities for werewolves. And that brings us to my favorite segment. I like to call it, and the hosts will like this.
Okay.
Sup, witches? Witches have a rich and, sad to say, predictable history. In Hebrew tradition, there was Lilith, who was called a witch. She supposedly went into people's homes at night and stole men's seed, which there's no talk of complicity there, so she must have been a witch. There's also Tulila or Tilolu. She was a nanny that was actually a slave in the 1600s in Salem, and her actions kicked off the Salem witch trials because she was watching a Puritan minister's children. They were little kids, a bunch of little girls, 6 and 7-year-old girls, and they were playing these fortune telling games with an egg white and water, and they would see things and tell their future. And they saw a coffin, and then they all started giggling and barking like dogs. And so rather than just knowing that's what 6-year-olds do, she was very superstitious. So she made them a cake made of horsehair and urine. And this minister came home and tortured her and made her admit she was a witch. And everybody was witches after that for several years. So that's another horrible part of the history. But here's the deal. It actually comes from the history of witches comes from a 20,000-year-old goddess culture. And this is very common in human culture, is the goddess culture. And they called them the wise women, and they did everything in the community. They healed infertility and infants, and helped with impotence, and they cleansed homes of negative words, and they played a role in every part of society. So how did the beloved and revered image of the wise woman become the feared and malevolent image of the witch? Now, I've been married 17 years, and I can tell you that I have a good idea what this might be. And you have to bear with me here. Bear with me, because it's a bit of a stretch, but it could be insecure men. I know it's a stretch. I know it sounds unreasonable and totally imagined, but it's real. There are insecure men, and they do exist. I know it sounds made up. All right. Here's why I say this. Because my wife, using my wife as an example, and I'm not going to use her name here just for privacy purposes. So we'll call her Infallible.
Okay.
Infallible for many years of our marriage was always right. And I was cool with that. We were new, and I was cool with Infallible always being right. And then somewhere along the line, I wasn't cool with it. And she made a fatal error that I believe these wise women made. She began on occasion to let me believe I was right, even when I wasn't, which I never was. And so I was then empowered with this idea that I had my own ideas, and that I was free to have these ideas. And I think that's the mistake these wise women made. These men, these unwise men of less than capable mind and overly capable body, now believed they had the right to have their own ideas and act on them. And so it was just a matter of time before they vilified and then killed these women. And being right all the time, I don't have to tell everybody this. Some of you guys may know. Being right all the time is a lot of pressure, and it can cause problems for people. My wife, in particular, her symptom that she shows is analysis paralysis. She cannot make a decision on big stuff. Like if we need a couch and she's in charge of it, we just don't have a couch. 6 months, no couch, like that. Puts it in the cart, waits for it to go out of style, then complains that it wouldn't fit in the house. We don't have a couch. Art, doesn't know where to put it. I offer to hang it up. She places it. No, I'm not sure I want it there. No art. We have no art. They have art in prison so that people don't shank each other over stolen potatoes. We need art. We need couches. So, and I know, look, I asked her to marry me 17 years ago, and she said, I don't know what to say. We've been married 17 years. We have 3 kids. I hope she says yes at some point, because I'm all the way in. And I know it sounds like I'm talking trash about my own wife, but I asked her permission to do this material, and she couldn't decide. So I'm doing it. My father actually emotionally burned my mother at the stake for decades. So much so that she despised him for 35 years of being divorced from him. The entire time, every day, she thought about how much she didn't like that man, to the point where when she had dementia and broke with reality, I had to bring her back, and she had mass confusion, and I would use people's names, and the only thing that would bring her back was my father's name, because hate is a powerful motivator. That's a big takeaway for Halloween. I would say my name, her name. She just didn't know anybody's name and know what was going on. And then I would say my dad's name, and she'd go, ah, yes, your father, a brilliant man with stupid ideas. I was like, wow, you didn't know what day it was. You nailed that. he was on dialysis the last years of his life, and she called me one time and said, "Has your father asked you for one of your kidneys yet?" And I said, "No, he hasn't, but he might." And she said, "I don't want that. I don't want you kids giving your perfect organs to that son of a bitch." And then she, in perfect martyr, wise woman form, she said, "Before I see that happen, I'll give him one of my kidneys." And I told him, and he said, "Oh, she offered me one of her kidneys. Are you serious?" "Oh, Collie, that's an assassination attempt. Probably going to drink a bunch of vodka the night before the surgery and try to take me out with her poison organs." The old Trojan organ trick. I'm not an idiot. So I'm not going to burn my wife at the stake. I'm not going to tie her to a rock and throw her off a bridge near my house here when people aren't around, because I've checked when they're around. And I'm not going to do that, because I believe there's a lot more to know about these wise women. Happy Halloween. Trivia! Wait, wrong button. Trivia! You guys ready for trivia?
Yeah.
We are. Yes.
Who's got their cards out? All right, get ready. Trivia time. I got I don't know how many trivia questions. Good ones. Good trivia questions. Here we go. What was the original name for candy corn? Think about this one. What was the original name for candy corn? If you're talking about the girl I went to high school, it was Tanya. She's a dancer now. Goes by Candy Corn. All right. So if you got your answers in, it was chicken feed. Chicken feed is the answer to that one.
Chicken feed.
All right. Next, who was the first first lady, excuse me, to decorate the White House to celebrate Halloween? The first lady, which is a mouthful, the first lady to decorate the White House to celebrate Halloween. And, it was in 1958, if that helps anybody. Kind of a good way. Mamie Eisenhower.
Oh.
Little known fact, in her parting speech, she also warned against the Party City industrial complex. A little on the nose for the old SMA there. All right. How many pounds of candy corn are produced every single year? A, 12 pounds. B, 28 million bushels of candy corn. Or C, 35 million pounds of candy corn.
Wow.
It is 12 pounds. So A is right. No, it's 35 million pounds of candy corn.
Yeah.
35 million pounds. That's the answer. Which candy was handed out to soldiers during the Korean War? Now, this one was an interesting one. I researched it, and I found out that they didn't even know it was Tootsie Rolls they were throwing. It's Tootsie Rolls. They thought they were bullets. And side note, they used them as bullets. So it worked out perfect.
Ouch.
Which country holds the record for the largest pumpkin ever? Hint, they named it Tony Soprano. It is not England, and it was not named Winston Churchill. Keep thinking, Tony Soprano. It was Italy. The answer's Italy in 2021. It weighed a whopping 2,702 pounds. It would have been 2,707 pounds, but somebody broke the top off when they were carrying it.
Oh.
What year will have the next Halloween with a full moon? Somebody know that one?
Wow.
What year will have the next Halloween with a full moon? This is a trick question, because it's all of them if you wear your bottomless chaps for costumes like I do. Halloween it! Do it.
Bad.
I'm in a band. 2039. It's 2039.
Okay.
The previous full moon on Halloween was when? Does anybody know?
No.
Last year.
Come on, guys.
2022.
It's the whole
2022.
reason we were locked down. 2020. The big full moon on Halloween was coming. So we went in our homes for an entire year. We survived it. Okay, ready? What Halloween drama caused a mass panic on October 30th, 1938? Is it A, Gone with the Wind? B, Jiggly? with with what was it? Ben and
Ben
Jennifer?
Affleck.
Yeah, Ben,
Yeah.
yeah, Ben and Jen. Okay, no, not or C, War of the Worlds. It is War of the Worlds. C is
War
the
of the
answer.
Worlds. Yeah.
How many colors of M&Ms are in a normal bag?
5.
The hint there is normal because it's a trick question. None. I don't see color. How many do you guys see? Ah, none. It's 6. 6. It's 6. It's does anybody know them for a bonus? Do you know the
Brown,
colors?
yellow, red, blue, green, red, and blue.
Ooh.
It is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and brown.
Brown. Oh,
There's a
brown.
brown one. That's the one that you always throw away because you're like, gross. Did that fall somewhere? All right. What do you sprinkle on your doorstep if you want to keep evil spirits out of your house on Halloween night?
Garlic.
Garlic's a good guess.
Salt.
That's a hint. It's not garlic.
Holy water.
It is broccoli. And then all those little kids will stay away.
Oh,
What we're talking about? No. Sorry. Different evil spirits. It is not broccoli. It is salt. Yes, salt.
Salt.
Keeps the evil spirits away.
Okay.
And of course, what product is banned in Hollywood on Halloween? Do you know this one? Is it A, freedom, B, tax exemptions, C, C, silly string, or D,
string.
all of the above?
Silly string.
C.
Silly string.
You get credit for C and D. All right. Happy Halloween to you. I love you, SMA. That's all our trivia. I hope I brought you
Yay.
and scared you to your core.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Colin.
Colin.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Colin.
Yeah.
DC.